Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 1.2, what was the impact of imperial expansion on international relations? The impact of growth of overseas empires on relations between European nations. European nations were competing with each other for raw materials and territory. The European nations wanted to protect their own rights to gain overseas territory and keep national pride. This opened up the risk of conflict between the nations. The Fashoda Incident. The Fashoda incident was when France and Britain were both expanding in Africa when their paths crossed in Sudan. Both claimed Sudan for their countries. Each country accused each other of unjustified aggression, leading to the Fashoda incident. Both started preparing for war, however, a compromise was created. This compromise accepted France accepted British possession of Sudan. Germany's place in the sun. So countries started to enhance their military ability to defend their empire. Wilhelm II was Kaiser of Germany in 1888, where he embarked on a policy of Weltpolitik, world policy. This involved seeking overseas possessions. The Entente Cordiale. Germany's naval development caused alarm in Britain because they argued that Germany's overseas possessions weren't enough to warrant a large navy. Britain was concerned that Germany's naval would be stationed in the North Sea. This led to a naval arms race with Britain and Germany. France also felt threatened by Germany's foreign policy. France and Britain signed the Entente Cordiale that settled the rivalry between them both, but Germany still felt threatened by the new alliance. Tangiers, Algeciras, and Agadir. Wilhelm made an aggressive speech to make it clear that Germany favored an independent Morocco. Although this was meant to split Britain and France, it had the opposite effects. Wilhelm sent a gunboat to Morocco to undermine French power in the region, but Britain sided with France, causing the Kaiser to back down. This was known as the Algeciras crisis. Disputes with China over imperial expansion. China considered themselves superior to other countries and didn't need contact with foreign countries. They were self-contained, which was later revealed as an inability to adapt to changes. European nations started developing trade links with Asia and wanted to trade with China due to its raw materials. Britain became one of China's largest trading partners and wanted to import opium, although China tried to ban this importation. China was defeated by Britain in the First Opium War and Second Opium War, so they granted Britain trading access and control over Hong Kong. Disputes with China over imperial expansion continued. As the restrictions were lifted, traders and missionaries started pouring into China. Britain, France, Germany, Russia, and Japan took control over major cities through laws and political control. The Taiping Rebellion led 20 million people to death and China could only beat the rebellion with help from Britain and France. China faced war against Japan in the Sino-Japanese War, which China lost due to outdated weapons in comparison to Japan's well-organized forces. The Treaty of Shimonoseki gave Korea to Japan as a result. The Open Door Policy. So the U.S. negotiated an open door policy which stated that all foreign nations should enjoy the benefits of China's trade equally, so no nation could have full control. This policy was created with most nations involved with China, except for China itself. The Boxer Rebellion. Chinese nationalists took up arms in the Boxer Rebellion, which was from 1898 to 1901. Chinese government agreed and took on war with the foreign powers. An 8-nation alliance was created between Britain, Russia, Japan, France, the USA, Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary, which defeated the rebellion. The Chinese government had to pay $67 million in compensation, which completely humiliated China. Tensions between Britain and Germany over South Africa. British emigration began in Africa, which caused English to become their new official language. Tensions with Boers, which were farmers of Dutch descent, increased due to the abolition of slavery in 1834. The Boers depended on slave labor to maintain their farms, so most left the Cape Colony and moved east. This was known as the Great Trek. To maintain the control of Cape Colony, there were constant border wars with native tribes. The most notable conflict was the Anglo-Zulu War of 1879. The British won, although in a bloody manner. The Boer Wars. The First Boer War defeated Britain as they were unprepared. Transvaal, an Orange Free State where the Boers resided, was allowed self-governing status. European nations resented Britain for planning this invasion, which led to tensions between Britain and Germany. Wilhelm sent a telegram to Paul Kruger, Transvaal president. This led to more increased tensions between Britain and Germany. So Kruger wanted full independence for the Transvaal. In 1899, Britain refused and Kruger declared war. Britain increased its forces in South Africa, and they won the Second Boer War, which went from 1899 to 1902. This revealed weaknesses in the British Army. 22,000 soldiers were killed and cost them a huge amount of money. The Boer fighters were imprisoned in concentration camps where many died or got injured. The Berlin Conference, 1884 to 85. This conference was organized by the German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck and was designed to regulate trade and European imperialism to prevent conflict between European nations. The main articles of the treaty stated that a free passage should be given to all ships on the Niger and Congo rivers, and slavery should be abolished throughout Africa. For a European nation to take control of a part of Africa, they had to inform the other countries of their claim. These rules were established without the approval of Africa. The Treaty of Shimonoseki, 1895. So this treaty gave Japan control of Port Arthur, which was a warm water port. Russia also wanted control of Port Arthur and argued that the Treaty of Shimonoseki would undermine existing interests and cause instability. France, Germany, and Russia put pressure on Japan to return Port Arthur back to China, which is known as the Triple Intervention. Japan couldn't resist the military forces of the three countries, so they agreed to remove troops for financial compensation. This was it for chapter 1.2. Thank you so much for listening.